You're listening to Sox in the Basement, a production of the Broadcast Basement Limited, where every show is 30 minutes of good and comes from a basement bar on the south side of Chicago. Pull up a stool, pour a cold one, and join us right now for Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome into Sox in the Basement. My name is Chris Lanuti, and you are listening to another White Sox simulated game in a simulated season here on Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at soxinthebasement.com. Been doing it since day one on opening day, and we will continue to do it, even though rumors surround baseball right now of the possibility it could return before the end of May. But we've heard so many different theories, and nothing is decided yet. If it does return, don't worry. We know you're getting invested in this. We'll make sure we simulate through the end of the season. And until baseball returns, and we all hope it does soon, we will keep bringing you a simulated game in full radio broadcast each and every day the White Sox would have played. Game 3 of a 3-game set, the White Sox dropped the first 2 at home. They have a day off tomorrow before they face the Minnesota Twins, but they will try to get at least one win from the Seattle Mariners. At this point in the season, Eloy Jimenez with 5 home runs and Edwin Encarnacion with 4 lead the team. The difference is Encarnacion is hitting .289, while Jimenez hits a paltry .143. Meanwhile, the majority of the bullpen has been very good, but the majority of the starting pitching has been mostly shaky. Besides Reynaldo Lopez, no starting pitcher has a whip lower than 1.50. And while Lopez's ERA sits at 3.46, everybody else is a 4, 5, or higher in the starting rotation. The second best ERA on the team is Dallas Keuchel. He takes the mound today. We head out to Guaranteed Rate Field right now for a Sox simulation with Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at soxinthebasement.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Guaranteed Rate Field for an MLB The Show 20 White Sox simulation brought to you by Sox in the Basement and also brought to you by our proud sponsors, Cork and Carry at the Park, 33rd and Princeton. Get them on Grubhub or go to corkandcarryatthepark.com. The Seattle Mariners have 5 straight wins after being swept by our next opponent, the Minnesota Twins. They've gone on a tear. Dallas Keuchel tries to stop them today. 2 starts so far, 1-0 record. 4.22 earned run average over 10 2/3 innings. He gave up 15 hits over those 10 2/3, and he'll try to keep the hits to a minimum as the White Sox come out today trying to switch things up, wearing their old 1999 late 90s jerseys, the sleeveless with the black arms and the pinstripes, as the first ball is grounded to Anderson at short, over quickly to Abreu at first, and 1 pitch, 1 out for Keuchel, and there's already 1 gone here in the top of the first inning. Mallex Smith steps up on a 4-game hitting streak, hitting .333. Keuchel, the lefty, to Smith, the left-handed hitter. And the pitch on the way on this Wednesday afternoon, low in the dirt, 1-0 the count. The White Sox are 6-5 currently, second in the AL Central. The first-place team, the Minnesota Twins, come to town on Friday. Sox have a day off tomorrow, but a couple of players needing a rest of 2 days instead of 1 and are out of the lineup today. Inside pitch chopped down the first base line, going foul. 61 degrees, partly cloudy. 3-mile-an-hour winds coming in, not straight in from center field, more coming in into the ballpark and tailing towards the third base side of the ballpark from center. Ricky Holiday is the umpire behind the plate today. A fabulous mustache on that man. I've talked about his mustache before. As Keuchel is 2-1 to Smith. And into the wind, the pitch on the way. Swung on and missed a slider, tailing away, 2-2 the count. The Mariners have won 5 straight. The White Sox have lost 2 in a row. Keuchel trying to put an end to it. He gets him to go around on a changeup out of the zone, and Keuchel strikes out the second batter up. And Mitch Haniger steps up, hitting .234. No home runs yet on the season, but 8 RBIs. And he's getting on base at a .379 clip. First pitch from Keuchel. Low in the zone for a strike. Haniger 6 for 24. That's .250 lifetime against Keuchel with 1 RBI. The pitch. Inside slider taken for a ball. Keuchel makes a bit of a face on that one. Did not go where he intended for it to go. He'll shake it off and get back in there. 1-1 the count, 2 outs, top of the first. The pitch on the way. Outside corner, doesn't get the call. Seems like he's getting squeezed now where he was not being squeezed with the first two batters. Next pitch on the way. This one is chopped over Moncada's head but foul as he tried to go into foul territory to get it. 2-2 the count. The pitch. Inside, change up, taken for strike 3, and that was a good pitch. He strikes out 2 in the first inning. And the Sox send the Mariners down 1-2-3, and they're coming up next here in the bottom of the first. Yusei Kikuchi gets his third start of the season for the Seattle Mariners. He's 0-1 with a 5.73 ERA, 11 innings pitched, 14 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts. His whip is sitting at 1.36. So he's yet to get a win. This is his third attempt. Tim Anderson, hitting .340 with a home run and 4 RBIs, steps up to the plate. Anderson has not walked much, .340 batting average, .380 on base percentage. And this first one is lifted down the third base line, tailing foul into the stands. 6 doubles so far on the season. He leads the team. And he's sitting 0-1 here in the bottom of the first. Ricky Renteria before the game preaching that even though this was the first time the White Sox have lost 2 in a row this season, it is no time to panic with an offense like this and a pitching staff that should come around. This one is dumped in the right field for a base hit in front of Haniger. Anderson trots down to first base, claps his hands, and he's the first man on in this game, and it's for the White Sox with no outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Yankees lead Baltimore at this point, 2-0 early in the game. Moncada steps in, hitting .317 with Anderson on first. First pitch outside corner fastball taken for a strike. The Mariners are 7-5, but sit third in the AL West right now, early on in the season. No score, Cleveland, Minnesota. It'd be nice to see Cleveland get a win there. Minnesota's been on a tear. They swept these Mariners last week. They're trying to sweep the Indians right now. And they're the team everybody's chasing early on here in the AL Central. This one's fouled off down the first base line, 0-2 to Moncada. Kikuchi sets, and the pitch on the way. This one's dribbled down the second base. Possible double play ball. They'll flip over, get Anderson back over to first. Moncada is safe. Difficult to turn with Anderson coming in hard at second base. He breaks it up as best as he can under the new rules. And Abreu steps in, hitting .326 with 1 out and a runner on first. It's Moncada now instead of Anderson. Outside corner four-seam fastball taken for a strike. Abreu has 2 home runs in the last 5 games. But he was an 0 for yesterday. The Sox could have used a hit a few times with him up and runners on. Yoan Moncada's been getting on a lot lately. Moved back into the 2-hole yesterday in the order. Remains there today. As some guys are working out their early season struggles. This one fouled down the first base line, 1-2. Kikuchi sets with 1 out, delivers low. Taken for a ball, 2-2 the count. The pitch to Abreu. Low curveball, 3-2. The count goes full with Grandal on deck. Hitting below the Mendoza line at this point, 189. But he's had some pop, and he's had some doubles, along with home runs, and driven in some key RBI. And that's why he's there instead of Jimenez, who's also struggling to this point. This one lifted into right field, tailing towards the line and the wall. It might clear, caught at the wall by Haniger. Moncada thought that might get over his head. He will retreat back to first base. That one just kept drifting and drifting back very slowly. Haniger was never running fast, but he almost ran out of room as he catches this one up against the wall right in front of section 108. Quick shout out to them. They sent me some amazing gifts. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. A box ends up on the door as this first pitch to Grandal is low for a ball, 1-0. And inside of it, not only a softball jersey, a retro softball jersey that I thought was really nice and was obviously intended for me. But the 108 included several hockey jerseys for my son, who you've heard on the show before, Dominic, trying to launch his own podcast, Sox from My Bunk Bed, #Drinkem. 1-1 the count. This one is ripped into left field. It is going to get down and over the head of the left fielder, rolling to the corner. Moncada is in the third. Grandal into second. He is tagged by a hair at second base, sliding in head first. He really looked like he had it. He started to slow up, and a great throw in from left, and then he had to put on the speed again and did not make it. Bad base running ends the inning, and we will go to the top of the second with no score. Daniel Vogelbach steps in, hitting .391 with 4 home runs on a 4-game hitting streak, and he's been killing the White Sox this series. 16 RBI so far on this very young season. The lefty against the lefty Keuchel, the pitch on the way. Outside corner cut fastball, strike one. There's a shift down with Anderson directly behind second base and Moncada over at short. Mendick is back in the outfield grass. He's playing second base today. Leury Garcia got the start in right, as this one is chopped straight up the middle to Anderson. He will flip it over to first, and that's the first out of the inning. Garcia moved out to right today to give Mazara a day off, and Luis Robert, who has not had any days off except for a scheduled one in which the entire team was off last week, takes a break in center field. The rookie sits down, and Adam Engel is out there. Engel is killing the ball against lefties early. It makes perfect sense to get him in there in this game. The pitch from Keuchel to Austin Nola, and that's inside for ball one. 1-0 the count with one out here in the top of the second. Keuchel delivers, and that's a strike cut fastball down the middle, 1-1. To get back to my story about the 108, not only did I get the softball jersey, but they included several hockey jerseys for my son, which I thought was a really nice gesture. They just shipped this stuff off. They have been very supportive of Sox in the Basement, and we've been happy to support them whenever we could. It's a good relationship between these two entities. I love their blogs, and while their podcast is very different from ours, it is a good time, and I think we bring two very different things. The count goes even at this point, 2-2, and the pitch from Keuchel, that is chopped foul into the camera well down the first base line. So thanks again to the 108. That was very, very nice of them, especially to Jacob, otherwise known as My Sox Summer, who came up with that idea, I think, because it looks like he shipped it off to me, and it ended up on my porch. My wife, by the way, made me wipe down the box and spray everything and wash it immediately. But that's the day that we live in. Tom Murphy's on deck right now as the count goes full, 3-2 on a high cut fastball, as Keuchel tries not to let Nola off the hook. This one is fouled back into Grandal's chest. 8 pitches in this at bat. Pitch number 9 on the way. Inside fastball misses, and he will get a walk. So a 9-pitch at bat draws a walk. The first free pass issued by Keuchel, and the first base runner for the Mariners here in the top of the second with one out. Want to mention Cork and Carry at the Park. Right now is the time to go to corkandcarryatthepark.com or use Grubhub to support a local business so that they are still around when the world gets back to normal. It may go back to normal in waves here, but eventually I expect to be lifting a pint with you at Cork and Carry at the Park. Inside fastball taken for a ball to Murphy. 1-0 the count. Looking at the menu today available at Cork and Carry, they got the full thing up for you. They got the award-winning burgers. This one is low, taken for a strike, 1-1. The big one that I enjoy is the Latino burger. I've talked about it before. It's also good for those of you going for a carb-free option, especially on the keto, as this pitch by Keuchel is inside, taken for a strike, 1-2 the count. It's got queso, chorizo, avocado, and chipotle mayo on top of one of their big burgers. Comes with a side. Get it with or without the bun, as this one is skied out to Jimenez, who will make the catch. Runner retreats back to first, and there's 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. And then don't forget to try the Irish egg rolls. Corned beef, cabbage, and Irish cheddar inside of an egg roll. That's amazing. They're $1 each. Load up on those and listen to a ball game, why don't you? As Patrick Wisdom steps in, hitting .250 in the 7 spot today. He has batted in the 9 spot, the 8 spot, and the 7 spot in this series. He keeps moving up the order. Some sort of rotation going on over there. He has 8 runs scored in the last 8 games for the Mariners. 0-1 the count as he takes that first pitch. 2 outs here in the top of the second. High 4-seam fastball, 90 miles an hour, taken for a ball from Keuchel. Keuchel's still under 30 pitches, but he's getting close here in the top of the second. High 2-seam fastball taken, 2-1 the count now. Sparse crowd, but again, another day game. All 3 games, day games on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday here for the Sox. They got the day off tomorrow before the Twins come to town. This one is lifted into center field. Engel running back towards the gap to the wall, and it will clear for a 2-run home run. And the Mariners continue to love White Sox pitching, and this ballpark, as this one is out 428 feet at 108.5 miles per hour. Wisdom has a 2-run home run, his second of the season, and the Sox trail 2-0. And at this point, the White Sox have trailed in all 3 games early, as the Mariners have jumped out The Mariners held on to win the last two. Dallas Keuchel has to stop this right now so his team can get back in there. High inside fastball to Alan Hansen, still 0 for the season. That is the 31st pitch for Keuchel here, 0-1 the count with 2 outs in the top of the second. A lot of the Mariners scoring happening with 2 outs. If you go back and look, some of their biggest runs and their biggest home runs have happened in this series with 2 outs. They are never done, as this one is floated out now into the right center field gap. Engel will be able to handle this, catching it before the track. But Patrick Wisdom, DHing today, puts one out right above where Dwayne Wise's the catch was made. 2-0 midway through the second, Mariners. Edwin Encarnacion has been on a tear. 2 home runs yesterday, 4 total on the season. But there's never anybody on base for him. He's got 7 RBI only, and he's hitting .289. He moves up in the order to the 5 spot today and will lead off this inning. The pitch from Kikuchi with a 2-run lead, outside slider, low, ball 1. Shift on with D. Gordon moving to the other side of second base, so 3 players between third and second. And Vogelback playing basically second base right now. The pitch to the right-handed Encarnacion, inside slider, 2-0. Kikuchi sets the lefty to the righty Encarnacion, the pitch. High pitch taken for a ball, 3-0. Jimenez on deck, hitting a paltry 143. Continues to try to work out his hitting woes, has been dropped now from the 4 spot in the lineup down to 5 and now down to 6. That's a taken fastball, 3-1 now the count. Midway through the 5th, still no score, Cleveland, Minnesota. This weekend we'll have a special guest, former Minnesota Twins pitcher Matt Capps. Some of you may remember him from back in the day, pitching for the Twins for a few years, pitched for a few other squads as well. He will be joining us to talk a little relief pitching and talk about what players may and may not go for in terms of plans in real life for the Major League season. This one is down the first base line. That would have been extra bases with nobody over there, but instead, the count goes 3-2. The pitch to Encarnacion. That one's also fouled off down the first base line. So pitcher Matt Capps joining Sox in the Basement for simulated broadcast this weekend as the Sox host the Minnesota Twins. That one is low and inside, taken for a ball, so he draws the walk off of Kikuchi, and Encarnacion heads down to first base. And now a young man is still trying to figure it out, and we want him to figure it out today. Eloy Jimenez, who is slugging .571, has an .840 OPS, and that's respectable. That is a respectable OPS, but he's only hitting .143. He's been drawing walks. He's been patient at the plate. He has just been unable to buy a hit unless he clears the fences. Not one hit so far this year has been anything other than a home run. High and outside, ball 1. They put that shift on again for him. It's not as direct, though, because we have a runner on first. There's a big hole on the right side of the infield for Jimenez, and a 2-0 count now for him as Kikuchi stares in, hoping he is not a victim of Eloy. The pitch. That one is belted into center field, and that is that young man's first base hit of the season. Sure, he had 5 home runs, but that's the first one he's gotten down. And he's excited over there at first base. He finally figured it out, shortened up his swing a little bit, goes to work, advances Encarnacion to second, so we have 2 on with no out in the bottom of the second. And Adam Engel hitting .444, mostly against lefties, faces the lefty Kikuchi, and takes the first one outside on a fastball for ball 1. He has a 1.167 OPS. A lot of people theorized that he would do great in a platoon role this year if Nomar Mazara didn't come through with what the White Sox were hoping for. As this one is lifted into the gap in left center field. On his horse, the left fielder will make a play against the wall. Get this one in. Encarnacion will tag and go to third. Jimenez holds at first, so Engel gives it a ride for a long first out of the inning. And it's first and third to Leury Garcia, playing right field today as Engel's playing center for Robert, with 1 out in the bottom of the second. And anything other than a double play put into play would hopefully score Encarnacion. This one is outside, taken for a ball in the corner, ball 1. His entire Major League career has been with the Chicago White Sox. 7 years for Leury Garcia. He had seen bad times going into a rebuild, and now as they come out of the rebuild, remains on the team with a role. Outside pitch taken, 2-0. You remember there was a point where there were the flying Garcias. 3 different Garcias on this roster. At that time, you'd have been hard-pressed to believe that the 265 hitting Garcia would be the one that would survive until the rebuild was over. The pitch from Kikuchi catches the outside corner of the plate. Changeup taken, 2-1 the count. Jimenez with a healthy lead at first, but I doubt he goes anywhere. Encarnacion standing over at third base, looking for a base hit to score him. The pitch to Garcia, inside taken, ball 3, 3-1 the count, with Danny Mendick, his 4th straight start today for the White Sox. He's at second base again, on deck. The 3-1 pitch. Low in the dirt, ball 4, and the bases are full for Mendick, as Kikuchi sits on 32 pitches at this point with 1 out in the bottom of the second. He has a 2-run lead, and Danny Mendick trying to get something going and at least not end the inning with an unfortunate double play, so Tim Anderson can also have a chance as he stands on deck. The pitch. This one is dribbled foul into the visitors' dugout. 0-1 the count, 61 degrees, beautiful day out here today. Weekday game in Chicago on the south side. This one is fouled down the third base line into the stands. 0-2 quickly to Mendick. He can't rush. They're going to try to induce the ground ball. Don't make a mistake. Low pitch. He swings and misses over the top of it, inside at his knees. And he goes down on 3 pitches. So Kikuchi now has the bases loaded, but has it to 2 outs. And it'll be up to Tim Anderson to provide the White Sox with the hit that could score 2 or maybe more depending on where he puts it. 2 outs here, bottom of the second, bases loaded to Anderson. Low pitch at the knees, taken for a strike, 92-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball. As Kikuchi tries to get out of a jam and the White Sox fans try to cheer Anderson on. Jimenez at second, Garcia at first, Encarnacion is third as this one is swung on and missed inside. Anderson with 17 hits leading the team has not had one in a couple of days now and is 0-2 quickly here at the bottom of the second. That one is in the right field for a base hit. 1 run is around. They will try to score the second one. Jimenez scores easily as Anderson, 2-run single, and the Sox tie this game 2-2. He put that one between first and second, a seeing eye single that was on the ground before it even got to the dirt in the infield and just got in between the fielders and rolled in the right field. Jimenez on his horse. A good throw might have gotten him, but it was a bad throw up the first base line. And he's able to score easily for the second run. And Yoan Moncada steps in now with 2 on, takes the first pitch for a strike. 0-1 count with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Outside pitch taken, 1-1 to Moncada, who has the longest hit streak on the team now at 6 games. Kikuchi struggling, trying to get out of this game with minimal damage. The game is now tied up. He has 40 pitches. This is pitch number 41 as Garcia leads at second base and Anderson leads at first. The pitch. Inside curveball taken for a strike, 1-2. 27 pitches so far this inning for UC Kikuchi. And a 1-2 count to Moncada. Checks the runners. The pitch. High pitch taken, 2-2 the count. It'd be nice to see one more hit here and to grab this lead. Good inning so far by the White Sox. Inside pitch. Down the first base line, it will be caught out of play by Vogelbeck, but not before the White Sox string some hits together and tie this game up at 2. End of second. Tie score with Seattle, 2-2. Dallas Keuchel has new life and Dylan Moore steps up on a 4-game hit streak for the Mariners, batting in the 9th spot, hitting .253 to lead off this inning. Top of the third, Keuchel starts the inning with 32 pitches. And the lefty delivers a low 2-seam fastball for ball 1. Next pitch on the way. Inside low, taken for a strike at the knees. A lot of White Sox pitchers have had a problem when their team scores coming in and being effective right away in the next half inning. Keuchel wants to change that right now. He had the same problem in his last start. That one's fouled off down the first base line, 1-2. Boston leading Tampa Bay 4-2 right now, as a high fastball is taken for a ball, 2-2. He took 2 out of 3 from Boston. One of the guys giving us a problem was Chavis. Michael Chavis is 1 for 3 with a home run today in that game. It's getting late in Minnesota. Still no score between those two AL Central rivals. Took 2 out of 3 from the Indians, and we host Minnesota after a day off tomorrow, this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Matt Kapp set to join the show. 3-2 pitch from Keuchel to Moore. That one is lifted out into right field. Garcia gets over and makes the catch. And there's one gone. D. Gordon was one pitch and one out. And he will get his second attempt right now here with one out in the top of the third against Keuchel. As even though 2 runs have been scored here by Seattle, Keuchel's only faced 2 more than the minimum and is now first time through the order as a line shot to the left of Anderson is picked out of the air. He takes 3 steps towards second base and grabs that one before it gets into the outfield. So Gordon has seen 2 pitches and has recorded 2 outs, and there's 2 outs now in the top of the third. Keuchel delivers to the left-handed hitting Smith. Malik Smith over the last 7 games hitting .333. We've seen him lead off in this series, and now he's hitting second. The pitch on the way, low, 1-1 the count. Keuchel into the wind and the pitch. That one is chopped to second base. Mendick charges it, scoops it, and dishes it over to Abreu for the 4-3 putout. They go 1-2-3 in the third for Dallas Keuchel. Midway through the third, we're knotted up at 2. Abreu, Grandal, Encarnacion next. You are listening to a White Sox simulated season brought to you by Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at soxinthebasement.com. Today you are listening to this on a Wednesday. There's also a live show this morning on the Podbean app with myself and my co-host Dave. And we're going to get on and talk a little bit about what's going on in the simulated season, but also talk about what's going on in Major League Baseball and if they are going to start playing soon. A lot of rumors out there that they will, as Abreu takes a fastball down the middle for strike 1, hitting .318, second highest average on the team at this point. Kikuchi has him 0-1 here to kick off the bottom of the third inning. And then Don Paul, tomorrow on Thursday, my interview with him. We have a good time, just me and him chatting. You heard some of that over the weekend in the Boston series. You get the full thing, and it's a fun talk with Don. High fastball swung on and missed, and, well, Abreu goes down on 3 pitches. Second strikeout for Kikuchi, and there's 1 out here in the bottom of the third. Folks, Family Waterproofing Solutions has gotten the go-ahead to resume work. That means if you took advantage of getting an estimate, they're back at it. If you haven't, don't worry. They have been spending an awful lot of time making sure they're prepared to service you in the cleanest and safest way possible. When other waterproofing services and those that work on your basements and your sump pumps continued at work over the last couple of weeks, Ken and Maria, Ken, a veteran of the U.S. Marines, took time to make sure they had precautions in place, took care of their employees while they were off, and now it's boots on the ground time as they are back as of today. This one flied out to right field. Soft fly ball for Grandal. Out number 2. And there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Information about Family Waterproofing Solutions coming up here shortly, and make sure to ask about all the special deals available exclusively to Sox in the Basement listeners. There's a shift on for Encarnacion, as there was last time he was up. Gordon again playing on the other side of second base, 3 players between second and third. Vogelbeck is not all the way to second base this time. He's a little bit closer to first. Encarnacion did put a few right down the line that just went foul. So they're trying to cover the first base line, which leaves a huge hole between second and first. This one is grounded down the first base line. Foul, 2-1 the count here with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. The pitch on the way. Inside, high fastball taken for a strike, 2-2. The pitch. Swung on and belted right through that hole. He went oppo on the ground and easily gets a hit that rolls out in the right field. So Encarnacion beats the shift. Textbook. He just put it where they weren't. Excellent job of hitting right there. And Eloy Jimenez comes up 1 for 1 in this game as he continues to work back from a slump. Inside fastball taken for a strike, 0-1. He's 1 for 1 today with a single and a run scored. He has 5 home runs on the season and 9 RBIs. But it has been cold as of late. Hopefully he's breaking out of it today on a sunny day on the south side. And remember, even though he hasn't been hitting very well, he still has 5 runs that he has scored in the last 10 games. He's getting on base. He's doing his best through this rough time, and he's 2-1 now to Kikuchi. The 2-out pitch on the way. High taken for a ball, 3-1. Adam Engel stands on deck. He gave one a ride into left center field, right up against the wall that advanced a runner, and eventually runs scored in the second inning last time he was up. The 3-1 pitch fouled off down the first base line. Full count. Kikuchi, the lefty, to the righty, Jimenez. Pitch number 59 here. That one is charged out in the left field. It is trailing towards the pole. If it stays fair, it's gone. It is not. So that one goes foul. A long strike. We reset. Next one is popped straight up to first base. Vogelbach underneath it. He will make the play standing next to first. 3 unassisted on the flyout. We end the third tied up at 2. Foundation issues not properly handled can be costly. Family Waterproofing Solutions is owned by Ken, a veteran of the United States Marines, and his wife Maria, making them a veteran-owned business and a female-owned business that will diagnose and repair wet or leaky basements. And while they're located on the Sox side, Family Waterproofing services the entire Chicagoland area and Northwest Indiana. And now, after taking time off to ensure they can do things safely and securely for you, Family Waterproofing is back in business and doing jobs. Plus, part of the proceeds for every job that they do are donated to veteran and first responder organizations to support our frontline defenders. And currently, Sox in the Basement listeners have access to special pricing when they contact Family Waterproofing Solutions now, 708-330-4466, or visit them today at FamilyBasementWaterproofing.com. Tie game 2-2. Sox Mariners. White Sox trying to avoid the sweep. Mariners on a 5-game winning streak as Mitch Haniger steps in, 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first inning. Dallas Keuchel delivers to kick off the 4th inning, inside changeup taken for a ball. White Sox playing a shift here, very similar to what Encarnacion had in the last half inning, with Abreu basically playing second base, and Mendick moved over to the other side of second, as this one is fouled off down the first base line into the stands. Seattle's only offense has been a walk and a home run. Other than that, Keuchel has been sitting them down. 1-2 count here in the top of the 4th for Dallas Keuchel. And this one is a base hit out into center field. Engel gets in front of it and will toss it in. Goes down as a single. And there's a run around here with no outs here in the top of the 4th. So Haniger's on, and Vogelbach comes to the plate. 0 for 1 in this game, and there are some boos being rained down on him. He's been killing the White Sox all week. And Sox fans are sick of him. They don't like his face. They don't like anything about him. They want him to go away and never come back. Dallas Keuchel just wants to get him again as he got him the first time up. 1-0 pitch on the way. Low taken for a ball, 2-0. In the last 6 games, Vogelbach has 12 RBIs. The man is on an absolute tear here for Seattle. The pitch. Outside fastball taken for a strike, 2-1. He's a lefty hitter who has been fortunate enough to run up against 2 righty pitchers the last couple days, but the lefty Keuchel may change things today. Swung on and missed inside at his hands, and he's 2-2. A moderate lead by Haniger at first. Keuchel checks him. I don't think he's a threat to go. Grandal waits for the pitch. In the dirt. He swung on it and missed. Ump's going to say that Grandal got his glove underneath the ball, so it's not a drop third strike. He just rings him up. Although Grandal went down to his knees and fell on the ground trying to make that catch on a wicked pitch from Keuchel. And there's one out here in the top of the 4th. Austin Nola steps in with a 4-game hit streak and takes a ball high, 1-0. The pitch from Keuchel. Fastball, low in the zone, taken for a strike. 1-1 the count. One out here in the top of the 4th in a tie game. Keuchel delivers. This one's fouled back, 1-2 the count. Keuchel's been attacking the plate. He did so in his last game as well, though he did run into trouble eventually. He delivers here. This one's below the knees, 2-2. It's a good changeup though, and it looked almost like a curveball the way it dropped right as it got to the plate. Fastball, high and outside. That goes for a ball. The count goes full with 1 out and a runner already on first base. Keuchel needs to attack the guy that's up there right now. You don't want to put on 2, as the Mariners have been dangerous late in innings. This one's fouled off, and when I say late in innings, I mean they get 2 outs. That does not prevent them from getting runs. They've done that a lot of 2-out runs in this series. 2 pitches fouled off in succession. Remains full. Keuchel continues the work against Nola. The pitch. This one is lifted into right field, tailing towards the foul line. It'll be caught just in fair territory. Garcia gets it in to Mendick. The runner retreats back to first. There's 2 outs now. And Tom Murphy, 0 for 1 with a flyout in the second, hitting 184 on the season. Comes up with 2 outs and a runner on first. The right-handed hitting Murphy waits for Keuchel's pitch. Inside corner for a strike on a fastball at the knees. 0-1. Murphy was a 3rd-round pick. And a lot of people thought he was going to be a big deal in Colorado. He was not. He's getting another chance here in Seattle. The pitch from Keuchel. Outside corner misses. 0-2. It was high, about letter high and outside, and did not get in the zone. The 1-2 pitch. Outside, try to get him to chase on a 77-mile-an-hour changeup. 2-2 the count. Keuchel nibbling, but it's 64 pitches here in the top of the 4th inning. Let's finish this guy off. The pitch. Swung on and missed. A fastball that came in on him, staying in the zone. Keuchel pumps his fist and comes off the mound, and he's saying something to his teammates walking in. Looks like he wants some more runs. Tied up at 2, going to the bottom of the 4th. It will be the bottom of the order for the White Sox. Adam Engel, Leury Garcia, and Danny Mendick here. And Engel hit one deep into the left center field gap that was caught against the wall, but advanced the runner, comes up to lead off the 4th inning. Outside fastball taken for a ball, 1-0. The next pitch from Kikuchi, high and inside, 2-0 to Engel, who's been tearing it up against left-handed pitching. Kikuchi, a lefty, trying to pitch around him. He does this weird delivery where he brings the leg up in the kick, drops it slightly, brings it back up like he's standing on one leg doing the crane with Mr. Miyagi, and then delivers it. This one ripped out in the right field, down towards the track into the corner. It is caught right in front of the 335 sign. Engel's given 2 balls a long ride, but has resulted in 2 outs for him on the day. 1 out here now in the bottom of the 4th as Leury Garcia, hitting 265, steps up. And that one's a high slider taken for a ball. Kikuchi resets, the pitch on the way. Inside slider now taken for a strike, 1-1. Tie ball game, 61 degrees and partly cloudy, but I don't see a lot of clouds out there. As an inside fastball is taken, 2-1. Sox wanting to bear down here and get the win before the day off tomorrow. High and inside taken for a strike, 2-2 the count now, with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. San Diego piling it on Atlanta, 8-1 right now. The pitch. That one's chopped towards first. He bobbles it, keeps it in front of him, flips to Kikuchi, and they barely get Garcia charging up the line. So a wacky 3-1 putout, but it does the job for the Mariners, and Danny Mendick comes up with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th, 0 for 1 on the day. The pitch on the way. Swung on and chopped foul down the first base line. He went for 1 out of the zone. If you think about Mendick, here's a guy who was drafted in the 22nd round as he fouls this one off in his 0-2 and worked his way up to the major leagues. 0-2 pitch. Inside taken. They appeal. It is called a ball. They say it does not go around. 1-2 the count. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th and nobody on in a tie game. Kikuchi with pitch number 72 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Inside taken for a ball, 2-2. He's got to be wearing down, but it's only the 4th. We'll see how he continues to pitch. And here he goes. This one is lifted into the shallow left center field gap, and coming on is Nola, playing left today. He'll make the catch and head into the dugout. Sox go down 1-2-3. End of 4, tied up at 2. You're listening to a simulated White Sox game brought to you by Sox in the Basement. Found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at soxinthebasement.com, and Cork and Carry at the Park, 33rd in Princeton. Get them on Grubhub or go to corkandcarryatthepark.com and fill up on some tasty food and support a local business. And remember, Matt Capps, former Minnesota Twins pitcher along with other franchises, will be joining us as the Twins come in this weekend to face the White Sox for a 3-game series. The Minnesota Twins are red hot. The White Sox, meanwhile, trying to stop a red-hot Seattle team from collecting their 6th win in a row and sweeping them in this home Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. And Patrick Wisdom comes to the plate with a 2-run home run today. 1 for 1. Keuchel delivers and he rips this one down the third base line, but it hooks foul. He came today to try to hit long balls because chicks dig the long ball. Big cut on that one. 0-2. Keuchel took something off of it as if he realizes he's trying to kill every pitch. And the next one, again, he takes something off of it, but it dribbles over first base for a single down the line. Garcia got over quickly to prevent extra bases. He got that off the tip of his bat. It takes a funny hop over the base. Abreu's unable to glove it, and he gets a hit. Keuchel realized he was over swinging. That's pure luck there, that base hit. As Hansen steps in 0 for 1 and 0 for the season for the Mariners so far. And chops this one foul down the first base line. He flew out in the second. He's 0 for 5 on the season. Keuchel about to bring pitch number 70 here in the top of the fifth. And that one is fouled off, 0-2. Moderate speed on first base. The lefty Keuchel should be able to hold him as he looks right at him before he goes into the line. The pitch. Chopped over to Moncada. He goes to second for 1 across from Mendick to Abreu and rack him up. 5-4-3. Easily turned. Neither base runner getting close to any base before they were put out. Textbook. And there are 2 outs now in the top of the fifth inning. And when you're a guy like Dallas Keuchel who's had to fight today in a 2-2 game, those are the moments that extend you to possibly be able to pitch longer in the game. Inside fastball taken for a strike, 0-1 the count. Keuchel in the wind. The pitch is lifted out in the right field. Garcia moves over a little towards center and waits for it and catches it. Easy can of corn. And the Sox are out of the fifth inning and head to the bottom of the fifth with the top of the order. Anderson, Moncada, Abreu due up. Tim Anderson steps in, and the man has been bringing it as the Mariners starting to get some activity in the bullpen. He's 2 for 2 on the day. He has the 2 RBI single that tied this game. And he leads off against Kikuchi here, taking a curveball outside for ball 1. Nestor Cortez Jr., the lefty, in the bullpen. So it looks like the Mariners would still like to continue with a left-handed pitcher if they take Kikuchi out at some point this inning. The righty Anderson stands in. This one is lifted down the third base line, hooking foul over the ball boy in the outfield area. 1-1 the count. The pitch. This one's lifted in the left. He's on his horse coming in, but Nola will catch it in the air. And that's an out. 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. And Yoan Moncada comes up. Rays and Boston now tied up at 5 in their game. In the 8th inning, the Twins and the Indians, no score still. 2-2 here between the Mariners and the White Sox. The pitch to Moncada. Outside taken for a ball, 91-mile-an-hour four-seam fastball. Moncada has 13 hits, third on the team. And that's a guy who started off the season 0 for 15 just a week ago. This one is flared off down the first base line. 1-1 the count. Moncada's 0 for 2 today looking for his first hit. And the pitch. Swung on and missed inside changeup 1-2. The pitch from Kikuchi. He got jammed, but he lifts this in the left field and he's going to drop. So a jam shot in on the hands. Moncada fights it off and puts it in the left in front of Nola, who is charging in. He's got a single, 1 for 3 now. And Abreu, who's also 0 for 2, and 0 for 10 on the series. Coming into the series, arguably the hottest hitter on the White Sox, although Anderson did have the hitting streak coming in. But he's 0 for 10 on the series, 0 for 2 today with a runner on first and 1 out in the bottom of the fifth. It's time for him to break out and get something done against Kikuchi. First pitch is skied down the first baseline foul, and he'll reset. Moncada with a lead. The lefty Kikuchi looks straight at him and delivers. This one is over the head of the third baseman and down the line. It'll roll around in the corner around the 330 mark. Moncada's into third base easily. Abreu standing up at second. And the White Sox have 2 on, second and third with 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. The 4th double of the season for Jose Abreu. And he breaks that 0 for 10 streak against the Mariners. Moncada actually rounded third. It was good for him, though, to get back to third base, as the throw hit the relay perfectly and got into home. Luckily, he was already retreating back. Yasmani Grandal takes ball one low below the knees. He's 1 for 2 today with a single in the first, hitting .205. He's got a .725 OPS. He's had some big hits and some big RBIs. Doing very well with runners in scoring position early on in his tenure with the White Sox. He's got second and third now with one out in the bottom of the fifth. This one is down the first base line, fair. That's a fair ball over the bag. Both runs are going to score. Grandal heading towards second base. There will be a play. He is safe under the tag with a double. And the White Sox lead this game 4-2. A 2-run double by Grandal. Down the line. Rattles around. This time he makes it to second. Remember, he had a single and was trying to advance to second and was out on the tag earlier in the game. This time he's got a double. He drives in two, and Kikuchi's day is over. He was staked a 2-0 lead. He leaves the game now in the fifth, losing 4-2. And Edwin Encarnacion awaits the next pitcher coming in. And it will be another lefty, Nestor Cortez Jr., his fifth appearance. He has 9 innings under his belt. So he's a multi-inning pitcher. He has a 4.00 earned run average. Righties hitting .250 against him. Lefties hitting .333. And there are 2 righties now warming up in the bullpen for Seattle as Encarnacion takes an outside four-seam fastball on the corner for strike one, with Grandal on second base and 1 out. The 0-1 pitch to the 1-for-1 Encarnacion, who also has a walk. He's hitting .500 with runners in scoring position. Has 4 home runs on the season, but not a lot of guys have been on base when he hits them. 0-2 count now to Encarnacion. Grandal leads at second. Cortez checks him and throws. Inside pitch brushing Encarnacion off the plate on a slider, 1-2. The White Sox have been plagued by 5th and 6th inning issues, not only fielding, but pitchers having a hard time being effective. The starter bridging to the bullpen has been an issue. I would imagine Keuchel will get every opportunity, but they will be ready to pull the plug before they give up this lead, as Ricky Renteria has been burned several times over the last few days in these situations. 2-2 pitch to Encarnacion now is fouled off, and they'll reset. Grandal continues to go back, touch second, and take a moderate lead. They check the runner. The pitch on the way. Called for that one high. It was high in the zone and fouled back. The count remains even at 2. The pitch. Swung on and missed, one in the dirt, inside at his shoelaces. Encarnacion is fooled, and Cortez gets the strikeout. There's 2 outs now in the bottom of the fifth for Eloy Jimenez. He is 1 for 2 today with a single and a run scored. He worked the last count. He was up deep, but was unable to come up with the hit. Call for a strike that is borderline at best. It's a rough pitch to be called a strike, but he has to take it, and he's 0-1. Cortez, the lefty, looks in and delivers. Swung on and into left field for the second hit of the game. Nola comes in quick and holds the runner Grandal as he picks it up in shallow left field, so Grandal will only go second to third. Jimenez has a single. First and third White Sox here with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. And Adam Engel gets a lefty pitcher. I'm surprised they don't go to the righty the way he's been hitting the lefties today. He is 0 for 2, but he's been giving it a ride, and this one is deep. Way back to the wall. Back, and gone! A crucial error by the Seattle Mariners with 2 righties in the bullpen against Adam Engel, who's been killing left-handed pitching so far and hit 2 of them to the track so far in this game. The first pitch goes 364 feet over the left field wall. He has a 3-run, 2-out home run, and the White Sox lead it 7-2. That was a fatal error by the Mariners to pitch to him. And you don't even consider what you're going to do to Engel, who was all over Kikuchi, the other lefty in this game that he faced. And they were fortunate he didn't put one out earlier, as this one is an inside strike taken by Garcia. And Engel's been killing lefties early on in the season. And you know what? I'm fine with it. If teams haven't figured out that Adam Engel is deadly right now against left-handed pitching and seeing it well early on, let the hits continue. This one is flared out into center field, and it will be caught. A sliding catch. Smith comes in, slides on his butt, baseball slide, and catches this ball and gets it before it touches the ground. But the White Sox score 5 in the 5th and lead 7-2. 2 runs on 3 hits for the Mariners, 7 runs on 10 hits for the White Sox. Top of the 6th inning, Dallas Keuchel out there on 73 pitches. And D. Gordon comes up. He's seen 2 pitches today, and he's 0 for 2. The lefty Gordon against the lefty Keuchel to kick off the top of the 6th inning. And that's a 2-seam fastball taken for a strike, 0-1 the count. The pitch. Low, changeup, 1-1. Keuchel delivers. That one's fouled off down the third base line. 1-2 the count. The pitch. Swung on and yanked out of the air by Yoan Moncada. That ball was rising to go over his head, and he stuck his glove out after taking 1 step towards Anderson and snow cones that one. Unassisted 5 put out on the line drive. Nice play by Moncada, very quick reflexes. Malik Smith comes in now and takes the first pitch outside for a ball. The next pitch is low, 2-seam fastball, 2-0 the count. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. And Keuchel delivers. Inside, taken for a ball, borderline call. 3-0 now with Mitch Haniger on deck. Keuchel working with a 5-run lead. This is his inning right now. No activity. Outside corner, taken for a ball, another close pitch. So he walked Smith on 4 pitches. So there's a runner on first with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. And Mitch Haniger comes up to the plate. And before they do anything else, Don Cooper's going to come out here and talk with Keuchel. Haniger's 1 for 2 in this game. Keuchel looks pretty confident on the mound right now, although you have to imagine with 81 total pitches, 28 for balls and 53 for strikes, he's got to be getting low on the energy. He will remain in the game, of course, as nobody's warming yet. Coop just wanted to check on his starting pitcher, and this one's on the way. Cut fastball on the outside corner, so they talk a little bit about Haniger, who was a first-round pick in the 2012 draft, and he throws a strike right away. Next pitch, lifted out in the right field, tailing towards the foul pole, and that will wrap around the foul pole for a 2-run home run, 363 feet, out at 108 miles per hour, and Haniger has his first home run of the season. The lead is cut to 7-4 here with 1 out. The quality start is gone for Keuchel, and the White Sox bullpen will start getting ready, as you do not want to give up what you just accomplished here in the last half inning. That was a line drive hooking foul. It wraps right around the foul pole just over the wall. Clears the wall by probably about 3-4 feet and lands behind the pole. Rattling around the bullpen, where now White Sox pitchers are warming up. Vogelbach steps in, 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. As Jimmy Cordero and Jace Fry warm up with 1 out here in the top of the 6th. An inside fastball taken for a strike. The lefty Vogelbach is 0-2. Cordero has been brilliant so far out of the pen. Fry has been brutal the last 2 outings. But you only have 2 lefties out there, and if they get into a situation where they think a lefty can get him an out to finish the inning, they may consider him. The next pitch inside, swung on and missed. Keuchel strikes out. Vogelbach looks out to the bullpen with a look of disgust on his face. He knows he was cruising, he knows he had the quality start, and he knows now that he's on thin ice. But he gets his 5th strikeout right there. And with 2 outs in the top of the 6th and a 3-run lead, Nola, the 5-hitter, comes up hitting 0 for 1 in this game and takes an outside fastball for a strike. Keuchel sits at 88 pitches right now, and surely is disappointed in himself because he was cruising and he had a lead. At that time, starting pitchers have to sit there and say, not only am I pitching the 6th, but I'm going deep. Because until I get into trouble, they're going to give me some leash. 0-2 pitch now as that one's fouled off, and it's now 1-2 with a pitch outside taken by Nola. 2 outs, top of the 6th, 1-2 count. Sox lead the Mariners 7-4. The Mariners have 2 2-run home runs off of Keuchel. That's their entire offense. They have not had a lot of hits in this game. In fact, both 2-run homers scored a player that was walked earlier in the inning. So they have yet to string together hits even to score. And the count goes 2-2 to Nola. The pitch on the way. Outside in the dirt taken. Ball 3, 3-2 the count. Tom Murphy's on deck hitting 179. He's got a home run on the season. And Keuchel takes his time looking in. His pitch count at 92 with a full count, 2 outs here in the top of the 6th, trying to finish the inning. Inside, fouled off down the first base line. 3-2 count. Keuchel looks in the pitch. That one is swung on and driven down the third base line, hooking, just foul. And the very next pitch goes inside, cut fastball taken for a ball. He almost had a home run. He stood there and looked at it. The very next pitch is taken for ball 4. There's a runner on first and Tom Murphy steps in. It may be time to go get Keuchel. I saw Renteria get to the top step. He was called back by Cooper. Pitchers might not be ready yet. First pitch outside taken for a strike, 0-1 the count. Swung on and chopped to Moncada. He scoops it and dishes the second for the force out. So Keuchel survives the inning. He almost gives up a second home run to Nola that just barely goes foul down the line. That had been 2 of them right down the line for homers. Luckily, it's still 7-4. Steve Cishek warms up now in the White Sox bullpen as Danny Mendick steps in 0 for 2. Cortez continues to pitch the lefty for Seattle. We mentioned he's a multi-inning pitcher. And with the Mariners still trailing by 3, they have opted to stick with him. 0-1 count to the number 9 hitter Mendick, taken low for a ball, 1-1 the count. Keuchel is likely done for the day. Cishek, Bummer, and Colome likely to try to take this to the end for the White Sox. And that one's outside for a ball, 3-1 the count. Tim Anderson stands on deck hitting 360. He's been a big part of the offense today. Mendick, meanwhile, having his worst day at the plate for the Sox this week. He's found his way into the lineup 4 straight times and now draws a walk and heads down the first base. So good for him. He's on, the leadoff runner. So Mendick's on for Anderson with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. TA 2 for 3 today. 2 singles, 2 RBIs. He's got an OPS of 936. As Mendick takes a lead, Cortez, the lefty, checks him. And the pitch on the way. That one is outside and dribbled down the first base line. Foul. Cortez delivers. Inside taken for a ball on a slider, 1-1 the count. San Diego continuing to pile it on, winning 10-1 now in Atlanta. Brutal day for the Braves. The pitch. That one is rocketed over to third and thrown out into right field as they try to go for the double play. Mendick advances the third. So Hansen gets the ground ball, quickly tries to turn 2, throws it from the third base position over the head of his second baseman in the right field. The error puts Anderson on and Mendick at third instead of it being 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. The White Sox have 2 on with no outs in the bottom of the 6th, and Yoan Moncada comes up. He takes the first pitch outside for a strike, 0-1 the count. He's 1 for 3 on the day. And the White Sox need to capitalize on some Mariner mistakes, as they have capitalized on White Sox fielding errors all series long. This pitch is low and taken for strike 2, a slider at the knees. So Moncada quickly 0-2 in the hole, with Anderson leading off at first and Mendick at third. The 0-2 pitch on the way. Anderson breaks for second, pitches inside, taken for a ball. Anderson safe under the tag, head first slide into second base. He steals second. He has taken this leadoff role to heart as he leads the team in stolen bases and sits up towards the top of the American League in swipes as well. This next pitch is inside, taken for a ball, and Moncada, who started 0-2, is now even at 2-2 with runners on second and third. The pitch, inside, taken for a ball, 3-2 now. Cortez in trouble with Abreu on deck, who just broke out of his 0 for 10 slump against the Mariners with a big hit last time up. The lefty Cortez against the right-handed hitting Moncada. The pitch. Fouled off down the first base line. Will reset, full count. The pitch on the way. This one is fouled off down the third base line into the crowd. And we'll do it again. Moncada battling. 2 on, no outs. The pitch. Swung on and chopped into right field. Anderson's going to come around and try for home. 2 runs will score. Mendick in, Anderson in. Moncada with a 2-run single extends the lead 9-4. And the Mariners will finally go to a righty. Dan Altavilla, 7 games so far, 1-1 record, 0 for 1 in save opportunities, 7 innings pitched. He's got an ERA of 11.57. Lefties are hitting .437 against him. Righties hitting .294. As Evan Marshall joins Steve Cishek in the bullpen warming up. Runner on first, that's Moncada. First pitch, 98 miles an hour, outside taken for a ball. The Sox were trailing 2-0, tied it up. Then they jumped ahead with a big 5th inning, scoring 5 runs, going up 7-2. The Mariners answered immediately, scoring 2 on their second 2-run homer of the game. The White Sox answer back immediately to that in the very next half inning, getting 2 runs so far, and still have a run around with no outs in the bottom of the 6th as they face the second pitcher the Mariners have brought to them this inning. 1-2 pitch, low, outside, 2-2 the count. Abreu has fouled a few off here, and the count is even. The pitch. Outside, Altavilla struggling to get Abreu as the count goes full and Yasmani Grandal stands on deck. The pitch to Abreu. Inside, swung on. Could have been ball 4. High and inside in the zone. Abreu angry with himself for swinging inside and low on that pitch and missing it badly. He's the first out of the inning for the White Sox. Moncada remains on first base. And Grandal comes in and will try to get more damage done for the White Sox. High and inside taken for a ball, 1-0. He's got a double, a single, and 2 RBIs. The single, he was trying to stretch into a double when he was out on the tag, but he made up for it the next time up with a 2 RBI double that was part of the big inning the White Sox had last inning in the 5th. This one's low, taken for a strike. The zone has expanded a little bit. The umpire calling more close pitches for strikes than he did earlier in the game. 1-1 pitch. This one's outside, taken for a ball. 2-1 the count. 2 more righties up for the Mariners. They're getting their workout in the bullpen right now as they trail by 5 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Moncada leads the pitch. Swung on and chopped up the middle. Possible double play ball. Flipped to second by the shortstop and over to first. They'll rack up the White Sox, but not before. A big hit brings in 2. Yoan Moncada extends the lead. The White Sox go to the top of the 7th. Evan Marshall will come in for the White Sox. With the lead extended more, he is the freshest arm out there. He's only seen 4 games in 5 innings. He has not let anybody cross yet. This is a good situation to let him in there and rest some arms if they can. He has gone out and pitched a couple innings in a row in situations when the White Sox had a lead or were losing, and he's been effective, as Wisdom is way out in front of the second pitch. 1-1 the count. So he took the first pitch for a ball, second one a swinging strike. The next pitch on the way, chop foul back to the backstop. Wisdom's 2 for 2 in this game, hit a bomb earlier, and then got a lucky one down the first base line. This one is skied out to Engel, can of corn, for the first out of the 7th inning. Tampa Bay has now taken the lead against Boston. And meanwhile, Cleveland and Minnesota, no scores still in extras. They are in the 10th inning. The Indians trying not to get swept in Minnesota. The Twins on their way here. They will be here Friday. We have the day off tomorrow. Remember, Sox in the Basement tomorrow will present Don Paul. A nice conversation with him in full. You heard parts of it over this past weekend during the broadcast when the White Sox were in Boston. 2-0 count now to Alan Hansen, who had a big error that set up the White Sox big 5th inning. He's now 3-0 as he lays off one low and inside. Dylan Moore's on deck. Nobody on, 1 out here in the top of the 7th. The score is final now in Atlanta. They lose 10-1 to San Diego. Outside corner, changeup, catches the zone, 3-1 the count. Max Fried got lit up today for Atlanta. Rough game for him. Texas leading Colorado 3-0 right now in the fourth, as this one is sent out into left center field. Engel will call off Garcia and make the catch. So that fly out brings about the second out of the inning. 2 up, 2 down so far for Dylan Moore, who's 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts. He's 6 for 19 on the season. That's a .316 batting average. And the righty faces Evan Marshall for pitch number 10. And this one is put right out into the left center field gap. One hops into Engel, who cuts it off before it gets by him to the wall. A single. And Marshall will have to face at least one more batter here this inning. D. Gordon comes up. Gordon's seen a total of 5 pitches, and he's 0 for 3 in this game. And with 2 outs, he takes the first pitch, an outside sinker, for a strike. He's 0 for 8 in the series. He did not play the first game of the series. So that 0 for 8 is just yesterday and today. Curveball taken down the middle, 0-2 the count now, with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. And the Sox up by 5 with a runner on, who has some speed. Marshall checks the runner and delivers. Outside, taken for a ball, 1-2. This is the top of the order here for the Mariners. So Marshall has to be careful, but not too careful, as this one's inside taken. A changeup way inside out of the zone, 2-2 the count. Marshall sets and delivers. High pitch taken for a ball 3. The count goes full after it originally being 0-2. He threw 2 of them in the zone right away that were taken, but now he's trying to nibble, and it's not going well for him. Malik Smith on deck. This one is rifled out in the right field. Garcia back and makes the play, and he's out of the inning. Midway through the 7th, 9-4 White Sox. Are you or someone you know looking to learn how to play a musical instrument this year? Then you should be checking out Westgate Music School, 6527 West 127th Street in Palos Heights. Private music lessons for all instruments, including guitar, piano, drums, voice, bass guitar, violin, banjo, ukulele, and more. Are you a vocalist? Are you ready to play a musical instrument and looking to join a group? Westgate Music School offers group classes for rock band, a cappella vocal, and barbershop quartet. Students of all ages and ability levels will have the opportunity to perform 3 times a year in a student concert. Gift certificates for Westgate are also available. More information, call 708-586-7002 or go to westgatemusicschool.com. Edwin Encarnacion steps in 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. Altavia remains in the game for the Mariners. The righty delivers and it's fouled off down the first base line. White Sox lead at 9-4, bottom of the 7th. White Sox simulated game brought to you by Cork and Carry at the Park, 33rd in Princeton. Go to corkandcarryatthepark.com or Grubhub and order some tasty treats from them. Award-winning burgers, hot dogs if you want to have that ballpark experience, some hot wings, wraps, salads, great sandwiches, great apps. Encarnacion goes down on 3 pitches, swinging at the last 2. And there's 1 out. Eloy Jimenez steps up to the plate. Jimenez is 2 for 3 after being ice cold for about a week. He is finally warming up. This man's last hit before he got 2 today was 8 days ago. And it was a home run that was his 5th on the season. And then the slump began. But a 2 for 3 day today. Both of them solid hits. And a good at-bat for the other one that ended up being an out. And he's 2-1 now on an outside slider from Altavia. Shadow has now crept across home plate. The pitch on the way. Swung on and missed inside fastball, 2-2. The pitch. This one is in the center field for a base hit that will fall in front of the center fielder. Eloy Jimenez goes 3 for 4 to this point after a terrible 8-day stretch that has seen him benched and seen him move down the order twice from 4 to 5 and then 5 to 6, but in the 6th spot today has done well, and Adam Engel steps in. The man with the big 3-run bomb that broke this game wide open in the 5th is 5 for 12 on the season, hitting .417, 1 for 3 today. This is the first right-handed pitcher he will see. He remains in the game, though, and the pitch. And this one is chopped up the middle, grabbed quickly, and they will try to rack him up. Shortstop steps on second base, tries to flip it over, and Engel beats it. So it's a fielder's choice on the ground ball off the middle. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Engel stands on first base. Leury Garcia's up 0 for 2. The inning continues here. And that's a strike. Next pitch is outside, 1-1. The pitch to Garcia. Outside for a ball, 2-1 the count. It looks like Evan Marshall will start the next inning for the White Sox with a 5-run lead. As this one is lifted into right field, tailing towards the corner, and it is over the wall, just barely over the 335 sign. And Leury Garcia hits a 352-foot home run, and the hit parade continues. That one was down in the corner about 4 feet in fair territory, right in front of section 108 there. You can see him celebrating out there. Good job, boys. As this is a hit parade today, the White Sox lead 11-4 on a 2-run jack by Leury Garcia. If you'd have told me before the game Engel and Garcia hit him out, I would have told you were crazy. Maybe Danny Mendick can hit one out now. Maybe the 7, 8, 9 hitters will all have home runs. He's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, 4 for 20 on the season. The 1-0 pitch to Mendick, swung on and missed, 1-1. Definitely going to see Evan Marshall now. He's got a 7-run lead. There is no reason to tax the bullpen any further, as the White Sox try to close out this series with at least one win and increase their record to 7-5 before a day off in Minnesota coming into town. This one's fouled off 2-2. High pitch taken, 3-2 the count now with Tim Anderson on deck. And this is what the White Sox needed. You lose the first 2 games, then you build a big lead, and you have the chance, this one is fouled off down the third base line, of getting your bullpen 100% right before the Twins come to town. This one's lifted deep into the left center field gap. He will not get a home run, though. It is caught by Nola, and the Mariners are out of the inning. But the White Sox continue to add on runs. They lead 11-4 going to the top of the 8th. Matt Capps will join us on Sox in the Basement, presenting a simulated season this weekend. The former Minnesota Twins reliever will be talking a little bit about what's going on in the world of baseball now and what he, as a player and now currently a color commentator, wants and doesn't want Major League Baseball and the MLBPA to agree on for this shortened season that we all are waiting to see when it will start, how it will start. Lots of rumors out there. And also talk a little bit about coming back from injury. The White Sox have a few guys that are starters. Capps was never a starter, but 2 guys that are starters coming back from injuries in Kopech and Rodon. We'll talk a little bit about that and what they're going through now. This one is dribbled up the middle for a base hit. So the leadoff man is on for the Mariners. Smith has good speed. Haniger's up now with no outs in the top of the 8th. You can't even worry about Malik Smith. He's likely going to steal second. He's likely going to try to steal third. He might as well run up those numbers, as with a 7-run lead here in the 8th inning, you have to just focus on the batter. He will look at him, but only a little bit. The pitch delivered, swinging strike. Haniger is quickly 0-2. He's 2 for 3 for the game, with an 0-2 count right now in the top of the 8th inning, and no outs. Vogelbach stands on deck. The pitch. Swung on and belted deep down the third base line. He's trying to will it to stay fair. It will stay fair. Mitch Haniger takes Evan Marshall deep, just to the inside of the left field foul pole, 454 feet. A towering shot. Out of here at 115 miles per hour. He hits a bomb. And while the Mariners have 6 runs, they still trail by 5 here with no outs in the top of the 8th inning. As Daniel Vogelbach steps to the plate. It was Haniger that hit the home run that got the bullpen ready and going when Dallas Keuchel gave it up earlier on in the game. It's Haniger that gets it going now in the 8th. Swung on and missed a changeup, 1-1 the count. Jace Fry and Carson Fulmer warm for the White Sox with a 5-run lead here in the top of the 8th inning. That one's taken for a strike. So there's no panic yet. The big names are not up. Renteria would like to get through this game without using Colome, without using Cishek, without using Bummer. Have them 100% ready to go. But you do have a day off tomorrow. Colome's the freshest one. If it got close, I think you would see him in the ninth instead of the other two. The count goes full after a high pitch laid off. 3-2 count, top of the eighth, 2 outs. Marshall delivers, and that is checked off down the third base line. Evan Marshall delivers again. That's outside, a borderline call, goes for ball 4. Marshall wanted that one and shakes his head. Grandal wanted it as well. As the ump is giving Seattle a chance to try to get back into this game. There's a runner on now. Seattle has 3 2-run home runs in this game for 6 runs. Meanwhile, the White Sox have 11. There's no outs here in the top of the 8th inning. 2 have already crossed on their latest home run. Line drive to Abreu. He knocks it down and throws to Anderson at second. Back over to first. They will not get the batter. Nola is safe, but the base runner is out. There's 1 out on the fielder's choice as Tom Murphy steps in. Marshall checks the sign and delivers. Strike 1 on a changeup outside portion of the plate. The next pitch is chopped foul, 0-2 the count. The shadow's directly in front of Marshall now at the base of the mound. As he delivers, this one is rifled down the third base line, hooking foul. The Mariners continue to try to hit every home run right at the foul pole in left field. They are pulling, and putting everything they can into it. Like it's some sort of video game or something. 1-2 pitch on the way. Inside taken for a strike. Strike 3, froze him. On a high inside fastball. Bat didn't leave his shoulders. Pretty pitch by Marshall. He put it right where Grandal set up. And there are 2 outs now here in the top of the 8th inning. As Patrick Wisdom steps up to the plate. And he checks the swing, strike 1. He's 2 for 3 with a home run, a single, and 2 RBI, hitting .275 on the season. He has been swinging for the fences every time he's been up there. It worked out for him early in the game, as he is one of those 3 2-run home runs from the Mariners. This one's low for a ball, 1-1 the count. Marshall delivers. This one is chopped up the middle for a base hit. Engel gets it in quickly. The runners advance 90 feet. First and second now with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. And Renteria's seen enough. With 2 outs, he'll go to Jace Fry, his much maligned lefty, who needs some confidence. He's got a 7.36 earned run average over 3 2/3 innings. He's had 6 appearances, 2-1 record, 0 for 1 in save opportunities, 5 strikeouts to 4 walks. He has struggled his last 2 contests out. He moves the batter from one side of the plate to the other as Hansen goes from being a lefty to a righty. And the first pitch is outside and low, taken for a ball. Fry, a loogie his entire career, can't really be one anymore because of the fact that all pitchers are required to face 3 batters or finish an inning, whichever comes first. And that has plagued him as he looks good against the first guy he comes in against and then quickly starts to deteriorate. Already, though, he's 2-0 with Carson Fulmer still in the pen. But Fry's got to face 3 here, and if he does that, this is going to be a much closer game. This one's inside, taken for a strike, 2-1 the count on a cut fastball at the knees. Hansen stands in, still 0 for the season, 0 for 3 today. Takes a strike, 2-2. Fry has to throw strikes. His biggest problem has been the walk. He does them in bunches, and that's what's been killing him. He delivers. Swung on and missed, he strikes him out. So a big confidence builder for Jace Fry as he comes off the mound with a slight little fist pump. The Sox lead going to the bottom of the 8th, 11-6. Tim Anderson steps in here. In the bottom of the 8th inning, he's 2 for 4. He got hits the first 2 times up, including a 2-run single that scored the first 2 runs out of 11 for the White Sox in this game. He's been red hot at the plate and a speed demon on the base paths. And the defense has improved. I think he has 1 error on the season so far. Swings and misses at this offering in the dirt. 1-1 the count. Matt McGill, the new pitcher here for the Mariners. The righty delivers a ball outside, 2-1 the count. It's a final in Boston. Tampa Bay beat the Red Sox 6-5. Swinging strike, 2-2 the count now to Anderson. McGill delivers. Inside swinging strike. Strike 3. That one was out of the zone. First strikeout of the game for McGill to his first batter. As Anderson goes down, 2 for 5 on the game now after a quick start. Yoan Moncada comes up. That Indians-Twins game is now into the 12th inning with no score. And the Royals have kicked off their game hosting Detroit, leading early 1-0. Low inside slider taken for a strike to Moncada, who has hit from both sides of the plate today and is 2 for 4 with 2 singles, 2 RBIs and a run scored, hitting .333 on the season. And he's quickly 0-2, hitting from the left side of the plate right now. 0-2 count, bottom of the 8th. 1 out, the pitch. Outside taken, ball 1, 1-2 the count. Carson Fulmer has stopped warming up and has his stuff with him. Looks like he's going to bring it into the dugout and likely pitch the 9th inning. 2-2 pitch. Outside and taken, 3-2 the count. Abreu's on deck. The average has been falling, but he's still hitting .319 and has a big hit in this game today. Full count to Moncada. The pitch. Swung on and put up the middle. Line drive snatched out of the air at second. Second baseman shading right towards the bag, able to take a quick step and pluck that one out of the air. And Abreu comes up with 2 outs, 1 for 4 in the game with a double. It was a big hit when he got it. And this first pitch is low at the knees, taken for a ball, 1-0 the count. McGill into the wind, the pitch. This one is sent out into center field. It'll be a can of corn for Smith, who jogs in, catches it on the run, and continues towards his dugout. Dylan Moore, the 9-hitter, will lead it off for the Mariners here in the top of the 9th inning. Carson Fulmer has 2 appearances this season. He's 0-1, over 1 1/3. His ERA is 6.75, with 4 strikes to 2 walks. Now, let me tell you a little bit about those stats. In his first appearance, he gave up 2 hits and 2 walks over a third of an inning and lost a game in the 12th. In his last appearance, he came in and pitched a full inning and a third, and he struck out 4 guys. So 2 very different appearances. As the first pitch is taken for a ball, the next one is chased out of the zone for a swinging strike. 1-1 the count to the number 9 hitter Moore. As Carson Fulmer in a non-save situation comes in with a 5-run lead here in the top of the 9th inning and tries to end this game. The pitch to Grandal, swung on and missed. Changeup, falling out of the zone, 1-2. Fulmer, the righty, delivers to the right-handed hitter. Swung on and missed. It hit the dirt, so they're going to throw down the first base. Grandal gets it down there easy. That goes down as a strikeout with the drop third strike. The last time Fulmer delivered one of those to Grandal threw it over Encarnacion's head, who was playing first base at the time. And that began a comedy of errors in the field for the White Sox when they lost earlier in this series. Fulmer now gives up a base hit in the center field on a 1-0 pitch. So D. Gordon finally gets his first hit of the series as he almost takes off Fulmer's head. Check his ear for blood. Fulmer didn't know how close he came to dying there until the ball was past him. So there's a runner on who's got speed in Gordon. 5-run lead with 1 out in the top of the 9th. Outside taken for a ball. 1-0. Malik Smith in there now, 1 for 3. And Fulmer stares in looking for the sign from Grandal. The pitch on the way. Swung on and fouled off down the third base line, 1-1 the count. Fulmer delivers. Inside, ground ball, possible double play. Flip from second to short, Anderson across. They're going to say he beat the throw. So the game was almost over. Mendick made a nice play and flipped it from his glove to Anderson, who was already on second base. He takes it and tosses it across as hard as he can, but that's too much speed. Smith and Gordon are fast at the top of that order. And here's Mitch Haniger. 3 for 4 with 2 2-run home runs in this game. Both of them wrapped around the pole. The first one barely got around the pole and landed in the bullpen. The second one hit the concourse underneath the fan zone, right down the line. It landed on the concourse, hitting a trash can right at the top of the section. He's 1-1 now Fulmer delivers. Strike on the outside corner. Changeup. 1-2 with a runner on first and 2 outs at the top of the ninth and a 5-run lead. The fans get out of their seats and start clapping. Fulmer delivers. Swung on and chopped back. And will reset 1-2. Low and taken for a ball, 2-2. Come on, ump, anything close, let's finish this game. This is a good confidence builder for Fulmer if he can get through this inning without giving up a run. Grandal sets up on the inside. The pitch comes outside and is fouled off down the first base line. Remains 2-2 with 2 outs here on the top of the ninth. The pitch. Strike 3 down the middle on a curveball. Haniger froze. And the White Sox will salvage a win here, taking the final game of this 3-game set, 11-6. Home runs all over the place on both sides. But it was the White Sox behind a 3-run bomb by Adam Engel that really broke this open. And they take this 11-6. And their 2-game losing streak becomes a 1-game winning streak. They'll have the day off tomorrow. Remember, Don Paul, a conversation with him. You will get that tomorrow. And also, depending on when you listen to the show today, if you listen to this broadcast in the morning on Wednesday, look for the live podcast with myself and Dave Kohut, my co-host, my friend, my confidant. And then we're going to post that later on in the day. So you got 2 things you can listen to. This game, and then, of course, we're going to be talking about what the team should be doing in simulation now. What do we want to do? How do we want to adjust? And also what's going on right now in the world of Major League Baseball, in the real world. Matt Capps, former relief pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, joining us as the Twins come to town for 3, starting on Friday. The White Sox sitting in second place behind them right now. It'll be a big series early on in the year as Dylan Cease will take the mound. Dallas Keuchel gets the win today. He got through the 6th inning. He gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Adam Engel is your player of the game with that 3-run home run. He went 1 for 4 on the day and played center field extremely well. Leary Garcia 1 for 3 with a bomb as well, 2 RBIs. Yasmani Grandal 2 for 4 with a double, 2 RBIs and a run scored. And Tim Anderson goes 2 for 5 with the first 2 RBIs of the game that got the White Sox tied up early on. UC Kikuchi takes the loss after 4 1/3 for the Mariners. The White Sox improve to 7-5. We will see you Friday. Make sure to check out Sox in the Basement for everything we're doing. The show with Dave, the show with Don Paul before that game comes out on Friday. We've got lots for you, getting you through the tough times. From Cork and Carry at the Park at 33rd and Princeton, Family Waterproofing Solutions, my buddy Dave. This has been Sox in the Basement, a simulated game in a simulated season, brought to you by Sox in the Basement, found everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at soxinthebasement.com. Bye-bye, everybody.
Sox in the Basement. Sox in the Basement. Sox in the Basement.
Sox in the Basement. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always on soxinthebasement.com.